we're on the YouTube page.
Meeting is now streaming live on YouTube. All right.
So are we live right now?
We are.
Do we know if anyone's there?
It just says 1, 4, 5.
So can they hear any of us as they're doing this?
Mhm.
So,
Hi, everybody. We are just making sure that we are we are live properly. So if you can hear us, can you please go ahead and just comment that you're here? Are you getting any comments, Becky? Becky, you're on mute.
Rachel texted me. She can hear us.
All right. Well, you guys, we're going to wait just one more minute just to make sure everyone can get on properly. I hope everyone is having a lovely evening. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful day today. Awesome. All right. I'm seeing that people can hear now. All right. So first off, welcome you guys. I'm Marissa Byard. I'm the director of Camp Davis. We also have Becky Dabb here. She's our assistant director. And we're also joined by Leslie Sachs, the executive director of the JCC. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We wanted to make sure that we got at a time where we could get everybody to be able to see us and answer any questions that you have. I know that this is a crazy time for everybody, but we want to be able to answer everybody so you can feel as comfortable as possible with us. And if you have any questions, please add them into our comment box on YouTube. And when we get to the question and answer area, Becky's going to read those questions to me. We also ask that that you wait a little bit longer into it to see if we answer any of those questions while we're talking. Very cool. If we do not answer any of the questions because we run out of time, we are ending at 9 o'clock tonight. We will provide an email response in the coming days to you. So I want to first off say that for us, yes, camp is going to look a little different this summer, and we're going to talk about that in a few moments. But the big thing that we believe in camp is a place for your kids to be able to get smelly and muddy and wild and crazy, a place for them to be kids. And no matter what the logistics look like, we're going to provide that for the kids this summer. We really harp on our camp values, making sure that we provide kef or fun. That's what camp's about, making sure everything is fun. Ahava or love. We want to teach that with the kids and make sure that we provide that in every way. Again, Teva, nature, it's very important that we get these kids, especially right now, outside and enjoying the beauty of our beautiful campus that we have there. We've talked about shmicha, growth. We push your kids every day to come to camp and push themselves a little bit out of their comfort zone and to grow. And also with all of our staff as well. We want to make sure that we are making ourselves to be a little bit better every day. We really talk about the Kehila Kadosha, holy community. Times like now we're tested, and we want to make sure that we come together as a community and we show that at camp together. And then also Sadiq, righteousness, making sure that we can make the world a better place, right? There's crazy things that are going on in the world. but the kids learn so much about how they can help right at camp, and we really talk to them a lot about that. So this year, our typical camp day is from 8:30 to 3:30. We will have a morning ruach to start off, and then we're gonna have bunk time for each household. We're gonna be doing households of 10 kids or less. And we want to get them to know each other because we really want to develop the bond between them. We'll have 2 to 3 morning activities, or you'll have specialty track if you signed up for the specialty camp with snack in the morning. We will be doing lunch. We're doing a staggered lunch. We'll get into that a little bit more in a few minutes. And then in the afternoon, there'll be 2 to 3 afternoon activities followed by afternoon ruach and snack. Those activities that we have are art, nature, music, swimming, Israeli culture. That's our core curriculum that we always make sure that we include at camp. For our Shevet Bet, so that's for kids entering 3rd grade and above, they have an opportunity for archery and adventure park as well. Then we also have, this year we're adding unit head time, so they can get a chance to do specific activities with our unit heads that they just love to hang out with anyway. So it's a little bit of a different spin on our activities this year. What we are asking you guys to bring this summer, first off, we are asking for a personal protection mask. All of our staff members will be wearing either a mask or a face shield, or both if they choose to, at all times. We ask that the campers bring one with them when we do go inside into the JCC for activities, for inclement weather days. When we're outside of the auditorium, so going into the restroom, we want to make sure we keep that bubble with our campers, and so we ask that we have the mask for those times. As always, we want tennis shoes or closed-toed shoes that also have a heel on the back. We want comfortable pants or shorts. It is warm out there, so make sure that we wear the correct clothing. Hat and head covering, bathing suit and towel every day, a backpack, water bottle, so essential. We always provide water cups to campers if they do forget their water bottle, but this year especially, we want to make sure that you have your name on your water bottle and they're carrying it around everywhere with them. Sunscreen and bug spray. And then we always suggest that you can leave, if your child needs it, to leave a change of clothes at camp. The one thing that we would also like is a Ziploc bag. So your bathing suit and towel, we could put a big one that you could put them in afterwards to help for the cleanliness. So you're not reaching in and out of a backpack that has clothes that have been exposed. What to avoid, as always, sandals and flip-flops, except for when we're at the pool. Those are not very safe at camp. There's a lot of roots out there. We do a lot of running. Any nice clothes you do not want to get dirty. They are going to get dirty at camp, so don't send them in clothes that you would get upset about. We are technology free for the campers. Also with us, we do not want them to have cell phones, iPods, or any kind of handheld gaming unit. Also, trading cards of any type, we don't have the time for them to have them, and they usually cause more problems than good. So please do not send them with those. Other toys from home, we are packing the time with the campers, so there's no time for them to be playing with their other toys. Anything that you would get upset if it gets lost or broken, do not send them with, please. All right, so our drop-off and pickup are looking different this year. So our drop-off schedule is starting at 7:45 and ends at 8:30 with the start of the camp day. So we are going to be sending out each week a system that you would sign up for a pre-scheduled time to drop off. What's going to happen at drop-off is when you pull up, we will ask you to keep your camper in the car. and we will be asking a few questions to verify that they haven't had a cough, or they haven't had a fever, or any a few other symptoms. And then we will also be using infrared, a no-touch thermometer to take their temperature on their forehead. We do ask if you could keep the windows closed and the air conditioning on in the car, just so until we're able to take that, just so we can try to get the truest temperature as possible. If they do read higher than 100.4, what we will do is we will ask you to pull to the side, and we'll give you a thermometer that you can take the temperature in the mouth with the cover on it, and we will see if it is lower than that 104.4. If it is above 100.4 or above, then we will be denying entry. Our staff will be doing every day. They're going to be doing like looking for flushed cheeks, rapid breathing, any fatigue, extreme fussiness, and foot sores. These are some of the things they're looking for when they're getting out of the car. And then parents will be asked if the camper has had, as I said, those questions like a cough or signs of respiratory symptoms, a fever, if they've exposed to anybody with COVID-19. Once they've passed all the questions and their temperature, then we'll give them some sanitizer, and they'll be walked over to their household or tent.
The map. The
I'm
drop
sorry.
off.
So the drop off, it's from 7:45 and ends at 8:30, and then the pickup schedule. The pickup begins at 3:30 and ends at 4 o'clock. What's going to happen is when you arrive at your pre-scheduled time slot, so again, it's the same thing that you're going to be signing up for the time that you're picking them up. You will pull up your ID and hold it up to the window, and we'll have a staff member there to check it. Once the staff member checks it, they will tell you a parking space number. All of our parking spots will be numbered, and so you could pull up to that spot. At the same time, our ID checker will radio over to the campers group and let them know what space that they need to come to, and they will be walked to the space. Once they get to the car, we'll say have a great day and we can't wait to see you tomorrow. If it is necessary for you to drop up or pick up at a different time because of a doctor's appointment or any reason, we ask that you call us at this number here at 615-892-0324, and just let us know when you're close by, because then we'll tell you where to meet us at the camp. Most likely it will be right at that drop-off area. Fortunately, no parents or guests are able to enter the camp area, and we want to limit the people that would be coming into the building as well. So just call us on that number and we'll meet you there. And then this is just kind of a map so you can see where the direction of the flow of traffic. Right around where that star is where those numbered parking spots are going to be. All right, so not only are we screening all the campers, but we screen all the staff upon arrival as well. For our staff training, we've already started this, and we will continue every morning for the rest of camp. We are spending more time outside with airflow and sunshine. Everything that the CDC and health department is saying that this is the best place for us to keep the kids. We are keeping our households separate to prevent spread and allow for social distancing, and also so we can have contact tracing. So if there is a case for some reason, we can know exactly who the camper has been in contact with. We're going to be doing the social distancing whenever possible. So what you'll notice when you bring your campers to camp, instead of having one big tent like we've had in the past, we are creating a tent city. So each group is getting their own tent so they all can see the other groups. And when we have our morning ruach or spirit who has not come to before, our ruach sessions or spirit sessions, we can all be included together, but making sure we're keeping that physical distance between ourselves. We are increasing hand washing and sanitation around the camp, all over camp. We have built some hand washing stations, so they're to add to the help of getting their hands washed around around camp. We are minimizing contact between campers and other groups that may use the JCC. So we've actually, when they're down at the pool, for example, there's no other group of people that will be there. The only people that will be at the pool are camp people and obviously the lifeguards. When we are at lunch, then there's nobody going into the auditorium. It's just our campers in the auditorium. We're doing everything we can to keep them separate. So it's also the same with any rooms, the playgrounds, no other people are allowed. So I've spoken about how we're creating the households of 10 campers plus their counselors. Each household will have their own tent to call home, which I think the kids will really enjoy that actually. And these households will stay intact throughout the camp day. So in the past, we've had hugim in the afternoon where they get the free choice. This year, the hugim is removed and they actually stay with their group through the whole day. So each camper and staff person in the household will wear the same color bracelet that says Camp Davis on them. They're really cool. So we could visually see exactly where they need to be. So usually a household will attend the activity areas by themselves. In the case of like sports where we have a huge field or swimming, there may be multiple households at the same area, but we're providing the social distancing to keep them separate. And we have different ways, like barriers to separate them or physical pieces to keep them apart from one another. Within their group, we are encouraging campers to social distance whenever possible. What the CDC says at this point is as much as we can to keep them separate as possible, but understanding that campers are they're kids, and so we're keeping them in their group so we can know who they've contacted with instead of outside of the group. They won't be able to contact them. So we will eat lunch in 2 groups, and we've created little dining halls in the lunch area, so to provide for that social distancing. And so each area, it has the barriers between the next area, but it still has a very open, fun, airy environment, a feel to it. And so we also have the 2 staggered lunches. So with the time to clean in between it. So every day the campers will either be in lunch A or lunch B. And we're going to stay outside as much as possible. We have reserved spaces inside the building to allow for each group to stay intact and keep separate from other groups during inclement weather. But if there's no inclement weather, if there's no reason to come inside, we're going to stay outside, which the campers really enjoy as well, to keep them cool. We have ordered also, we have misting stations for the campers to keep them cool. So if they are getting really hot, they can run through those misting stations and cool down in that way. So hand washing and sanitation, it has always been, but will be our extreme focus and part of our regular routine practice throughout the day. Whenever a camper goes to a new activity, the first thing they will do is they will wash their hands. Throughout that activity, they will be hand sanitizing or washing their hands as well. And when they're leaving the activity, they will be washing their hands and hand sanitizing. When a camper and the staff are entering the building, they will need to sanitize their hands before they enter the building. In addition, the campers, when they're starting the camp day, they'll be washing their hands or hand sanitizing, making those transitions. At breaks during the activities, this gives us time to do a couple of things for them to have their hydration breaks, for them to sanitize, and also for us to sanitize the equipment that they're using during the activity, before and after eating, and then also before and after they use the restroom. It will be available, hand sanitizer will be available when soap and water is not. And staff will also be instructed to wash their hands as above. It's been a fun practice already in our staff training to make sure we're constantly washing our hands. And as I said before, we have these cool new hand washing stations throughout the camp. Ask your campers about them. They're really neat. I'm excited for them. And then also all areas will be sanitized between use by the different households. So our staff are being trained on how to make sure that they're between each group, that they're washing down the chairs and the tables, how to make sure that all the equipment gets washed down. Specifically in art, we actually have different materials for each household, so they're not cross using the materials. We also have hired somebody that their whole job of camp is to walk around and help sanitize and clean camp as much as possible. So I spoke about this a little bit before, but the protective gear for our staff, they will be wearing face coverings, either a mask or a face shield or both, depending on what they feel comfortable with, either or both of them. We've been wearing them around for our staff training as well, so they're getting used to them now. Our gloves, we will continue using our normal requirements with the wearing of non-porous gloves. Anytime we will be touching any kind of bodily fluid, or when we're handling food, we will be wearing gloves. Campers should bring a face mask with them to camp each day. They will be required to wear this when they're in the common areas of the building, or if we do have to have the households together for a moment, they will be wearing their mask at that time. That's mainly if there's inclement weather and the kids have to get inside immediately. We do have separate areas for them inside, but if they do have to cross with one another, they'll be wearing their mask at that time. Campers are encouraged to carry hand sanitizers in their backpacks. All of our staff will have hand sanitizer in their backpacks as well. But the campers like to own something. If they can, it's theirs. They feel like they have the control over keeping themselves clean. Then they feel powerful in that way. And so giving them hand sanitizer is really great. And then also for our Chevet vet campers, or while they're on the adventure park, the ropes course, they must wear masks while up in anytime they're getting the ropes, I can't think, the harness on, or when they're up in the trees. Lunch and water bottles. So hands washed before and after the meal, any meal or snack. We are doing individualized packing for lunch and snack, no family style like we've done in the past. What's going to happen is the week before camp, I will be sending you out a menu of what we are having each day. You guys will return back to me what your camper will want, so we can pre-package their meals each day to exactly what they want. And this also allows, if you see that there's something that they're not going to want, you can still send them with a lunch if you feel comfortable with that. As always, we are nut-free facility and kosher as well, please. Tables will be set to allow for the social distancing. I talked about how we've put up these barriers between the groups, but it's still a nice, fun, airy space. And there's those two lunch times between 11:45 and 12:30 and 12:45 and 1:30. Campers should continue to bring those labeled water bottles. So what's going to happen for each each little tent, they have their own water cooler, and then around camp we have them as well. Our staff will be refilling the campers' water bottles. They'll hold the water bottle under while the staff presses the buttons, the touching spout, so we're not touching the spouts or anything like that. So our whole camp gatherings, I was talking about how we have our tent city. So our morning ruach or spirit sessions will continue. Shabbat will continue, but they'll just look a little bit different, right? Our households will be socially distant from each other, but they'll still be able to, this will just encourage them to scream louder and sing with more excitement, and act out their little skit with as much fervor as they can so everybody can see. Unfortunately, we will not be doing overnights or family nights this summer. This goes along with our SOFIM trip. We won't be doing that this summer. But we will have late nights, and for our Shevet Bet, so again, 3rd grade and up, we will have our late nights this summer. So those will go until 9 o'clock. With limited households at each, so we're making sure that we maintain that distancing. So what happens if my camper becomes ill at camp? I'm sure this is a question that a lot of y'all have, right? If a camper begins to display symptoms of illness, including the fever, the coughing, sneezing, a runny nose, lethargy, rash, or other symptoms, they will initially be removed from the group. We have designated some staffed separate spaces for campers identified with any of those signs of illness. Parents are required to pick up their ill campers immediately. If you are not able to come, if you're not coming, then we will call the emergency contact if they're not picked up within 30 minutes. Parents need to call the camp upon arrival, remain in your vehicle, and we will bring your camper out to you. And these are our final details here, very important, as you can see. Any camper or staff showing signs of respiratory issues, that's coughing, tugging in the chest, wheezing, or shortness of breath, will be sent home and may not return to camp for 72 hours. After the 72 hours, any camp or staff member sent home must be cleared in writing from a medical professional before returning. Parents are asked to contact the Camp Davis team, let us know within 24 hours of finding out a medical diagnosis. If a physician has cleared a camper to attend sooner, then they must write a letter in writing, and the letter will be verified to make sure that everything is right. If any camper or anyone at home has been in direct contact with any person that has been positive for COVID-19 or has a positive COVID-19 diagnosis, it is required that the camp be notified immediately. If a positive COVID-19 case is present in the camp, we will notify the health department, the CDC, the DHS, and follow their instructions on how to proceed. Parents will be notified immediately on instructed protocol. Please note, if you are uncomfortable with sending your camper to Camp Davis this summer with these precautions in place, please reach out to us to talk through options. We completely understand, and just let us know. These precautions are in place to provide every effort to keep every camper, family, and staff member safe. However, this does not provide any guarantee of any kind. You will be required to sign a waiver before your camper comes to Camp Davis, which will be sent to you before camp begins. We'll send it out to you with that each week for the next week. Sorry. We will be doing everything in our power to keep every person safe during this time, and working together during this time is essential. We have worked closely with the CDC, American Camping Association, and the Department of Health to develop our reopening procedures. It has been a lot of calls for those. All right, so I want to open the floor for questions and answering any questions that you have, so we can answer them for y'all. Please, again, if you did not hear it before, please add them to our comment section, and Becky will read them to us.
All right, hey Marissa. What question was posed to us by a parent? Have you considered supplying masks? What happens when a camper loses their mask or it gets wet? What are our policies? What's our plan when campers do inevitably lose their mask?
So for the getting wet, the answer of they are not wearing the mask in the pool. So if it gets wet from another way, that's just to let you know, they're not wearing the mask in the pool. If the camper, one of our activities in the very beginning is actually to help make masks with the kids. So hopefully they'll be able to have a couple of masks with them. We ask that you write their names on all of the masks, and I would, if I were you, I'd provide a second mask to keep in their bag in case that first one is lost.
We do have a supply of paper masks. I just don't know how well they fit kids. So we do have some for backup if we need them.
Mm-hmm. And we could tie them back with the rubber band in the meantime. That would just be if they've lost theirs. But one of the big things that we've harped on with our staff members this year, especially, to every time we leave an activity, to look around, look at the grounds, look at the area to make sure we haven't left anything. One of the beauties of being in just a small group is, for example, with the locker room, they're the only group that's in there at that time. So when they do leave, anything that's left in theory would be part of that group. So that's a big part of what our training is, talking to the staff about making sure nothing is left behind. So we're working to make sure that they don't get lost.
All right. Our next question is, are we considering a larger separation during singing during our morning and afternoon ruach, particularly within the same household?
Yeah, so the areas, the tents will be spread out far enough that the tents themselves, the kids can be far enough apart from one another inside their own tent. And so the tents aren't close upon one another, so each group can still spread out from one another within that tent, and within their individual household tent, and still have plenty of room from staying away from the other areas.
All righty. Oh yeah. So Marissa, we have a couple of families that are curious. Approximately how many campers and counselors are we expecting for a typical week this summer?
So we have actually capped our camp this summer. So we are not allowing more than 120 campers. At this point, we're looking at between 80 to 90 campers a week.
And staff, we have approximately 22 counselors, 22 staff members, including counselors and specialists, not including myself, Marissa, our new office manager, and yeah, the 25 or so, 26 staff members total this summer. Marissa,
again, part of our tracking system is making sure that we know which staff have been in which campers. So our specialists they're leading the activities, but at a distance from the campers. And then the counselors will not be going from each group. They're not going from group to group.
Marissa, are parents welcome to drop off their children late and pick up early like they have been able to do in years previous?
Yeah, we absolutely welcome that. We understand that there's things that pop up for your schedule. Just please give us a call on our camp phone, which we have listed in here, and it's also in all of our emails, and we'll be putting in our future emails as well. Call us, and what we will do is either meet you over at a specific place, which we tell you most likely where the drop-off area is, for you to drop them off, and then at pickup we will ask you to stay in the car, and we will bring them to you at your car.
We've made considerable effort to segregate all the different age groups this year. So we have seniors coming back to the center, even though they're in a vulnerable population. So we don't want a camper to accidentally expose a child. We don't want it to go the other way. So we're very much working to segregate these groups. And so we don't want you coming with a child to the front desk, because then that creates a different issue. So even when the kids go to the auditorium, they're going to go through the side door. They're not going to go through the front door. So we've tried to think of those pieces to make sure everything stays separate. And I mean, we're actually closing the pool from 9 to 4 every day just for camp, Monday through Thursday. So we've made a significant investment in keeping these kids separated and as safe as possible.
Absolutely.
All righty, where are we at? So I know we have a parent that has asked about our numbers where we're at this first few weeks. I'm pulling up that enrollment report right now, so we will circle back around to that question. What's the definition of limited households for late night?
So we have, oh, I see. Okay. So for our Chevet Bet group, there's less campers of that age group. So there's going to be less households there. We're going to keep them within their same household that they were with all day long. We wouldn't mix them. The counselors would stay the same. And it's the same for Chevet Olive. There would just be limited campers there because half the camp is not there because they're not at that age group.
All right.
We may further limit as we see how things go. We're not going to rush into the late nights. I know the kids may miss them, but we're going to make sure we have the day-to-day down before we introduce anything else.
Yeah, that's why we actually have not put the dates out for the late nights, because we want to confirm that everything is running smoothly before we add those on in the late night.
All righty. So where we are at right now, for
week one, we're at 86 campers.
Yeah. So our first week of camp, we are at 86 campers. Week 3, the second week, we are at 100 campers, and the our third week of camp, we are at 74 campers. And these numbers are subject to change as parents feel comfortable sending their kids or not sending their kids. So that is where we stand at this moment. So just know that those numbers will change. Marissa, will household separation immediately occur at drop-off and then continue until pickup?
Yes. So what will happen is at drop-off, once they've been, all the questions have been answered and their temperature has been taken and they're below 100.4, then they will be immediately walked over towards their household tent. They will be with them all day long. After afternoon ruach, then they will stay in that tent area. And once we've checked the ID and we know who is being picked up at that moment, we will radio over to that household group and they will be walked over to the car, that parking spot they're going to. So they will be with them from start to finish.
All right. So we have a question about our SOFIM and CIT program this year. I'm super excited about where we are headed with those programs this year. But Marissa, this family would like to know how are things going to look different for CIT and SOFIM this year, since they won't be able to go group to group in years past?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So our SOFIM, actually, we've been working with Skylar, who works at the JCC with our teens and also with BBYO, and she's helped us develop a program to be able to make sure that we are still offering a leadership program for them without having our SOFIM go to the different groups, right? So one of the things that she'll be meeting with them throughout the week to help get them ready with a couple of different things. One being they're going to be running our Shabbat on Friday afternoon. And then also they're going to be coming up with a way to match the theme of the week with the project that they're going to be doing for the camp. So a way that they can kind of work towards the greater good of camp, but within their group. And then our CIT, typically what we do with them is we actually would have them separate and go to different groups. What we will be doing with them this year actually is letting them stay together, because we recognize that age group, they want to still socialize with their friends. And so we're going to keep them within a group, but let them shadow a specialist and get to learn how to run that activity and run some activities as well, but keeping their distance from the group. So they're going to be learning how our specialists are able to curriculum plan and also be able to teach the counselors how to work directly with the kids while they're keeping distance. And then if they might go with a group as well, and they'll learn how to be a counselor for the campers, but at a distance from them. So they might run an activity with them during bunk time, but how do I run this activity engage the campers and get them really excited, but still not be on top of the campers, still keeping them at least 6 feet away from them. So they'll get to learn those leadership qualities, qualities.
Marissa, will our awesome campers stay in the same household if they are attending multiple weeks?
So they are going to stay within their same household, like their same age group. Yeah. So if they are in Halutzin, if they're entering into 3rd grade, then they will stay with Halutzin each week. Unfortunately, every week there's new campers that are signed up, or new campers that did not come back from the week before. So those groups might look different with new campers week to week, but it will still be the same group that they're staying with. The only campers that might not be the same are the ones that are doing specialty track. If they sign up for, let's say, clay camp week 1, and then week 2 they've signed up for, I'm trying to think of what the second week, cooking camp junior. So they would be with a different group that week because they're doing 2 different activities.
So yes, there will not be any field trips this summer. We also had looked into the possibility of bringing people into camp, but as things progressed, there will not be any field trips and no outside entertainment for those Shevet Olive hours like there have been in years past. There will not be any outside vendors this summer.
Becky, that being said, if things get better and relax, and we might consider bringing a group in. We talked about bringing in the zoo or someone like that, but we can't do that right now. We're trying to keep our household so intact and minimize any outside influence. But if things get better and it looks like it's doable to do, then we may, but for right now, we can't.
Marissa, what is the protocol? We've kind of briefly touched on it earlier, but the protocol, if a child or staff member starts to display signs of illness during the day at camp, where you can tell that they're no longer starting to feel themselves, be like themselves.
So what we would do is we'd immediately separate them, and we have areas that are that we are keeping separate for this reason. And these the campers will be brought into this room, and this room will be staffed, and we will immediately call home to let the parents know. Within 30 minutes, we ask that the camper is picked up. If they are not able to pick up within those 30 minutes, we will be calling emergency contacts.
Excellent. I'm looking over, we had a parent ask about the number of households we think we will have per group. I'm glancing over these, but Marissa, if you want to go ahead and do that while I kind of get approximately a better sense of what that might look like.
Yeah, so for like our Rishonim, which is entering kindergarten, we have 2 different households within Rishonim. So those groups will be kept separate from each other. It's the same with Chavarim, which is our entering 1st grade. There's 2 different households within Chavarim that will be kept separate from one another. And then for the rest of our different household or different age groups, they will be one age group or one household per age group.
Excellent. Let's see here.
And each specialty camp becomes its own household as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So some households, there's 7 kids in it there for the week, and some have 10. You know, it's we're not going over the number over 10.
This summer, will all ages still be able to do the adventure park?
Yeah, so entering 3rd grade and above, Halut Seam and above, or Shevet Bet will be allowed to go to the adventure park. Anyone that is signed up for a specialty track still will not be able to, even if they're in Shevet Bet, because they're at their specialty track.
All righty. So, have a question. This Leslie and Marissa, this is for you guys. So we have a family, a non-Jewish family, was wondering about the Israeli culture aspect of camp and how that works.
Yeah, so every year we typically we bring a shlicha here from Israel, which is a person from Israel that is coming here that would run our Israeli culture activity. This year we are not bringing anybody in from Israel, and so we are in-house. We are providing this time to be able to do this activity. What we do during this time is we play different games that we might play in Israel, or to learn more about Israel as well. We want to learn about that cultural education of Israel. So talk a lot about the different animals there, or we want to show that the kids in the US have very similar likes and dislikes as kids in Israel as well. And that's what the purpose of that culture is, that period or activity is for.
For rising kindergartners, for our Rishonimers and then those approximate ages, what's swimming going to look like at camp for them?
Yeah,
with
so
swim lessons and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so we have they would be going to the pool 2 different times each week, and when they go, they will immediately. We have no more than 3 households at a pool at a time. So they are separated around the pool. So they have swim lessons to begin with, each for both of those times. And so we have our swim instructors there that will help teach them how to swim and teach them new techniques. And our staff members will get in the water as well to help them out with swimming, with anything that they need. If the swim instructor, instead of the swim instructors going and helping them if they need anything, they'll instruct our staff members too, our counselors that have been around with them to keep that contact or minimalized, so it's not contacted by the instructor. Go ahead, sorry, Leslie.
So in previous years, we would take the kids down and they would split them into different swimming levels. This year, they'll stay as their household, and there may be 2 instructors per household and then working with each group, but we're not splitting them into swimming levels. Yeah. So it's going to be a little different this year. And we can only do it twice a week in order to accommodate all these kids in small groups. So even with closing the pool as much as we are, we're only able to accommodate so many at a time.
But after those lessons, they also get a chance for a free swim within that area as well. So they get plenty of time to be able to get wet and wild and crazy.
Awesome. So parents, I'm at the end of these questions that have already been posed in our live chat here. Parents, if you've got any other questions, feel free to hit us. This is what this time is for, is to answer all these questions and concerns you all might have. Want to make sure your kids have the best summer of their life. I can speak right now, probably for Marissa as well. So far, staff training, we've had 2 days. Our staff is awesome. Yeah. I'm so excited for our staff this year. I'm excited to your kids to meet them, to see how the staff grows and the impact they have on your children's lives. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I agree. Once again, I think that these kids, they need this right now. They want to get out and get wild and crazy, and we want to provide that place for them, you know. I expect for us to be getting calls from parents or telling us on day 2, my camper or my child fell asleep on the car ride home and I live 3 minutes from here, you know? And that's our goal. We want them to have a wild time this summer, but as long as we're following all of our precautions that we have in place.
Hey, Marissa, are there going to be certain activities or sports that will not happen this summer due to COVID-19?
Yeah, so we already had to cancel this first week. We had to cancel soccer camp. Any sports that are contact sports, we're not doing at camp this summer. And so, and all of our activities that we have that we're adapting them so we do not have contact with one another. So even when we do little skits and stuff, our skits have been changed so we're not touching each other. We're not running into each other, and we're keeping as to ourselves as possible. Our goal for this is to provide such a seamless transition that the campers don't even notice that they're not touching one another, you know, that they're not doing the activities where they might run into one another, because we're providing we've changed all the activities to be able to make them contactless.
Let's see. Marissa, can you touch a little bit more on lunch and how the food will be prepared and packaged? Will it be, I know Carlos is going to be doing our lunch again this summer, but will they be packaging it at their place or here at the J?
They are packaging it here at the J. And so they are creating that there's several different options that the campers can choose from, and that will be sitting in the menu. So they're going to create, for example, Mondays, we always have mac and cheese Monday, right? He also provides some kind of vegetable as well on that day. And then some campers don't like the mac and cheese, so they might choose for a bagel that day. And we're going to provide a little side salad that's prepackaged too. So what will happen is they'll package all of those up and little containers that are self-serving, and then our staff will go and look at the menus and say, this camper has signed up for mac and cheese, the salad, and the vegetable. So they'll grab 3 of those with gloves. They'll be wearing gloves as they grab them and bring them to that camper. And then this camper has decided to get a bagel and a salad. So they'll grab both of those, bring them to that camper. Obviously, our Carlos and his team in the kitchen, they will be wearing gloves like they always do. They will be doing everything, providing every single safety precaution that they can in the kitchen. They will actually be bringing those out to the dining area before the campers come into the room to minimize their contact with the campers face to face as well.
So all of our efforts for growing green and using reusable plates and forks and cups are off the table for this year.
Yeah.
And we're making sure not to use styrofoam and to try to use biodegradable things. But the reality is this is the best way to do it safely. And so that comes first.
Yes.
Leslie, this next question I'm going to pose to you.
Okay.
Is the JCC following Davidson County recommendations so that if we are, unfortunately, if the J is shut down, if the city is shut down again, will the JCC also close?
It depends what they say about camp. So what we learned through this process is that they actually didn't weigh in on camp till last week. And I wrote the mayor's office repeatedly and said, can you give me guidance on the pool and on camp and on childcare? And they did not give us any guidance. So I think we will follow the data very carefully. If we think there's any risk, then we will. I don't know if we'll shut down per se, or we'll take whatever steps are necessary. We are trying to control this as much as we can. Our reservation system means 36 people max are entering the building every shift. So we're really controlling as much as we can to keep everyone safe. But I can't say, yes, we'll shut down, or no, we'll shut down, because I don't know what that looks like. We actually shut down before the mayor shut down. So we're probably more proactive and don't have the same political pressures that he has to open. We were caught off guard last week when he suddenly reversed course, and we thought fitness in the pool would open to the public after camp started, and it kind of backfired on us a little bit. So that is not happening this time. Camp will be open, but we have blocked it off. And I've gotten some pushback from members about blocking off the pool all day, every day, but we are making sure we do everything the right way, as close as the right way as we can get it, so.
All right, so Leslie, this next question is going to be for you. And based on timing, this will probably be our last question. Parents, if you have other questions that you did not pose in the chat, please email us. We will go over that email address here in a minute. But Leslie, if the regulations are changed in July and things are different, like no masks or amount of people in a group, are we going to, I'm assuming the J and or camp, will we change our directions?
I honestly don't see us changing it. I think we'll stay with households of 10. We might, if they release all restrictions, might say, okay, we'll combine the 2 reasoning groups and let them do more together, just the kindergartners. But I firmly believe this is the safest scientific way to approach this to keep everyone safe. So I don't see us just relaxing this. I don't see us opening the pool for everyone to come while the kids are there. I think we'd look at it and we'd let parents know ahead of time if we were making any changes. But I think this is going to be it for the summer. And I think we have to wrap our heads around that and enjoy it. We're thrilled that the kids don't have to wear a mask outside, because originally that's what we were told. So we're pleased with that. I mean, I'm sure our staff would love not to wear a mask, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Right now, through all phases of the mayor's plan, staff and employees are suggested to wear masks. So we will follow that. We will have mask-free times for our staff that need a break from wearing a mask, that they can separate and distance. Even our early childhood program, we have some mask-free areas. The kids 30 months and up are required to wear a mask in early childhood. And so we have some mask-free zones for them just to take it off. I don't like wearing one either. I mean, it's not our favorite thing to do, but it's the right thing to do, so.
All righty. So yeah, like I said, if you guys have other questions, you can email Camp Davis at NashvilleJCC.org or Marissa at NashvilleJCC.org. I just want to say, on a personal note, I am so excited to meet everybody this summer. I started right after this past summer, 2019, so it's going to be a whole new adventure. I have never been to Camp Davis as a camper or a staff member, so I'm looking forward to meeting everybody, getting to know your kids, and to be a huge part of their life and in their growth and development this summer. So Marissa, if you want to go ahead and close us out here.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you guys. I know that this has been a wild ride the past few months, and I want to thank you guys for y'all's continued support. We are here for you. If you have any questions, send us our way. And as always, I have an open door policy, not physically this year, but I have a policy that if you have any questions, comments, concerns, ideas, please send them our way. We believe in that Kahilas Kadosha here, the holy community. We are all working together to make sure that we provide the best experience for your campers this summer, or for your children, our campers this summer. And I am so excited to get started. Thanks, you guys.
Good night. Thanks, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good job, Marissa.